Hey y'all, it's Siobhan Muir. Welcome back to Cooking with Siobhan. Now, today I'm doing a recipe that's actually my recipe. You know why? Because the original recipe had 3 ingredients changed by me and I don't even remember what it was. So we're gonna call it Siobhan Muir's cheesecake cookies. And these are gonna be gluten-free because that's pretty much all I do now. Although there are certain recipes I don't, but this one will be. So what are you going to need? You're going to need 5 tablespoons of butter softened. You'll need a third of a cup of packed brown sugar. Trust me, this is a third of a cup. We had some interesting things to make the brown sugar do what I want it to do, but it's good to go. And a cup of flour, 3/4 of a cup of sugar. This is actually 16 ounces. We're gonna cut it in half and use half of it, but you're gonna need 16 ounces, or you're gonna need 8 ounces of goat cheese. Softened, and it is. You're gonna need 1 egg, just over here. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of goat milk, which I will get when I'm ready. 1 tablespoon of lime juice, and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. This is what you're going to need so that you have an idea. Now, what do you need to do first? Well, first you need to heat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. Let that preheat. The next thing you're going to do in a medium bowl, and you don't really need it to be bigger than this. I consider this a small bowl, but you're really not going to need anything bigger. You're going to combine and blend thoroughly, which actually I'm just going to do it with a fork, not this, but blend thoroughly the butter, brown sugar, and flour with a fork until it resembles crumbles, because this is going to be your crust on the bottom, and you'll sprinkle a little bit on the top. So, like I said, I had fun with my brown sugar, but it ended up working the way I wanted it to, so no worries. I know it looks weird. It is a third of a cup packed brown sugar, but I had to do some manipulation. Then you add the softened butter, which that's what you got this for. Kind of blend that into the sugar a little bit. Like I said, you really don't need what they call for a medium bowl. You don't need it. And again, you kind of want to blend it together, and then you add the flour. This is going to be the crust that's going to go onto the bottom of a 8 by 8 by 2 inch baking dish sprayed lightly with cooking oil or cooking spray. I've got it prepared for when I'm ready for it. Because what you end up doing when you mix this together into crumbles is you're going to use half of this for the crust and half of it for a topping. I think I would have started with the flour first, but it'll eventually work. And you do want to thoroughly mix because you don't want large parts of flour. 1, it won't hold together, and 2, it just doesn't taste right. And I did use, for those who were wondering, I did use 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour by Bob's Red Mill. It is my go-to flour for gluten-free yummies. This is kind of what you want it to look like. A little bit crumbly, kind of all mixed together. Break up the larger pieces, but yeah, you kind of want it to look like this. All right, now it says put 1 cup of the mixture aside for the topping. So you can take your 1 cup mix and you can just kind of throw it in here. And there you go. We got about that for the topping. The rest of this will go into the crust. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump this in here. Make sure you get all of it. There will be some that might be, because of the softness of the butter, it might be stuck to the bottom of the bowl. So then with this is kind of like press the remaining in. So basically spread this out with your fingers. It's okay to spread it out with your fingers. Totally okay. Because this is going to be your crust. But you want to make it evenly distributed, otherwise your cookies are going to come out bald. And you don't want bald cookies. That would be bad. Don't do bald cookies. But you just kind of pat it or press it into place with your hand. Make sure it gets into all the corners. The butter is going to make it easier for it to kind of, you know, flatten out. But you're going to get a crust like that. Then what you're going to do when your oven is ready is bake for 15 minutes at that 350 or 177 degrees Celsius temperature. Let that go. All right, then while that is baking, this is when you get the more of the cheesecake. Okay, so the timer just went off and we have a nice crust here, and I will use a couple of towels to show you. It just looks like a kind of a cookie crust. Not anything exciting, but it will be the bottom of your cheesecake cookies. So what you need to do now is you need to blend, combine sugar and cream cheese. Well, one of the things is, even though your cream cheese is soft, or your goat cheese, since I use goat cheese, you're gonna need to break it up a little bit, because otherwise it won't mix thoroughly, and then you'll get large chunks of sour cheese in the middle of your cheesecake cookies. Probably not the greatest. So I always cut mine up into smaller chunks, and then you're gonna add the sugar, which is 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And you do need it. Not only is goat cheese a little more sour, but cheese and cream cheese in general is kind of on the sour side, so you're gonna need the extra sugar. All right, so blend. Okay, so basically what you're doing is you're softening the cheese, and you're trying to combine it with all the sugar. Okay, thoroughly beat in egg, milk, which I use goat milk. Oh, interesting. Okay, so here's what's interesting. My recipe says 1 tablespoon lime juice. But when I'm reading the recipe directions, it says lemon juice. I'm going to use the lime juice just to see if it tastes a little zingier. So, all right, so it says thoroughly beat in egg, milk, lime juice, and vanilla. I would suggest doing them one at a time. That way, you know they're completely combined. Not only that, but when you put the egg in, which I'm doing slowly, you want to make sure it's completely combined throughout all the things. So we will do this. It'll make it a nice golden color because of the egg yolk, but it also make it smoother. So now the other things will go in really easy. You will need 2 tablespoons of milk, 1 tablespoon of lime juice. You don't have to clean it out. It's gonna be just more milk, so no worries. And a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Once you do that, mix thoroughly until smooth. It's going to be a little liquidy because of all the milk and juice and things like that. But you want it to be thick. So it should look a little, as you can tell, a little liquidy, right? But that's totally normal. That's what it should look like. I turned off my oven. I shouldn't have, but I turned off my oven because I forgot that you're going to bake this again. So we'll have to wait for it. Oh, we only have a little bit. It'll finally warm up. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that everything is combined. What we're going to do is we're going to pour this on top of the crust. What you're going to do is you're going to take the still warm crust, and you're going to pour this on top of that. I know the end of the bowl is to you, but I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. So what you want to do though is make sure that you're going to spread it a little bit, because you want to make sure that it covers all of the crust. Don't have to do too much of it because it is liquid. I mean, you can just, if you want it, you can tilt it. But all right, ta-da! When the oven heats back up, you're going to bake it for another 25 minutes. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna let it cool. It takes about, I don't know, 40 minutes to cool. And then you stick it in the fridge for an hour. At least an hour. You could do it longer than that, not a problem. But the idea is you are kind of making a cheesecake. So you do have to bake it and you do have to chill it so that it comes together. Oh, I totally forgot about this. So don't forget your crust, topping, whatever. Anyway, what you do after you've poured it in here, you have to add the crust to it. And you kind of want to, I mean, you can drop it in there, but it might distribute better if you sprinkle it by hand, like I'm doing. Of course, you might end up with piles too, but you know, the idea is to sprinkle it evenly. I think this is what makes it the cookie part, in that it's got crust on the top and bottom. Granted, this is just sprinkled. This is what it should look like going in, and then you bake it for 25 minutes at 177 degrees Celsius. All right, so we'll see you when it comes out. It smells so good. Okay. That's what it should look like. I know it doesn't look like much. It looks kind of like dust in a pan. But it's bubbling and it smells really good, and it smells like cheesecake. All right. So the thing is though, you have to let it cool because it is a cheesecake. You're going to end up putting it in the fridge for at least an hour. I'm not going to show you that because it's just going to be, it looks like this, only cold. And then we will add, you know, a photo of it, but it looks like this. And then you end up cutting it kind of in little squares, and they should come out, fingers crossed, they should come out of the pan really easy. It all depends on if you oiled it enough and it doesn't stick to the sides of the pan. If I cut it now, it'll collapse, and we don't want that because it's still a little bit gooey. But once it chills for at least 60 minutes, you could probably do 2 hours just to be on the safe side, but it at least needs to go an hour. And then yeah, you just cut it up and serve, and cut into 16 squares. Wow, that would be like, those are pretty big. So yeah, it's supposed to make at least 16. You could probably cut them smaller, and then you could, because you can use them as a little appetizer kind of thing, where you stick them out and there's all these little cookies. Not an appetizer, but I mean, you could use it as a little, like at a party for a little, you know, you do cookie parties. It's a good one. Anyway, it smells great. Ooh, it comes away from the wall pretty good. You should get your very nice cheesecake cookie. When they totally set, they will be nice, thick cheesecake cookies. But because they're still a little gooey. But yeah, they're really good. I can already tell it's really good. But hopefully it'll work out. Again, you're gonna have to at least chill it for about an hour, and then you'll be able to, it won't be as gooey, and then it'll set and be wonderful. But ta-da! There it is. Siobhan Muir's cheesecake cookies. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Definitely ring the bell to find out when new videos are put up. Subscribe to the channel, like and comment on this video, like and comment on other videos. And also join my Patreon, because Patreon really helps me as the author and baker, but it also gives you all sorts of goodies. You know, there's all sorts of tiers. You can get the really expensive tier, and that one gives you a free book every 3 months. Not a bad deal. Signed even. But If you're more like, I just really want to support her, but I don't need much stuff, sign up for the $1 a month. If you want to read my serial, which you can only find on Patreon, sign up for $5 a month. Anyway, there's a tier for everyone. You can pick your poison and decide what you like, but please do join me. All right, so that's it. Gosh, it smells good. Happy making, happy baking, happy eating, and happy reading. Bye.